Welcome to the Top 10 Garden Show with Ken Lane. Listen to Ken's tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts guaranteed to make your gardens more beautiful than ever this year. Now, welcome your host, Ken Lane.
If you have animals, javelina, deer, antelope, elk, all these different things, we are surrounded by the forest, and the animals come into the neighborhoods, and they're at night they just get bored there, and it's so entertaining in these neighborhoods. Look what kind of bush this is. I've never tried one of these. What do you think, Bob? Does that taste good to you? Doesn't me either. Let's keep moving. Let's try that one over there. They're noticing things in your yard. Animals they don't like herbally smelly kind of things. And so lavender, salvia, sage, things that have a scent to them, thyme, they're not going to bother, or greatly less likely to go eat things. Now, deer have like two stomachs like a cow. So sometimes they'll eat things just kind of because they're bored and they're browsing through, and they finally realize, I don't like this. And they keep moving on. I planted one that was a Catmint. So if it's got mint, thyme, any kind of herbal name in it, you're probably good to go. Catmint's a blue perennial. So finally, the perennials are coming into the garden center. It's a late spring through summer. So now through June is kind of your best selection of perennials. These are plants that come back year after year. So perennial and permanent both start with P. Okay, so annuals they bloom like crazy for 1 year and then they die. They can recede, but basically they're showstoppers annually and then they're done. Perennials and P or permanent start with P. So they come back every year. Your best selection shows up starting now. And so some of them are over the top. So Catmint is almost always exclusively blue, or kind of a light purpley color. So it's a pretty plant. It's mounting up to about knee high, kind of a big, just circle shaped perennial. It's really stunning. Animals don't eat it. Don't bother. It blooms a long time. It's a perennial pollinator. So your bees and butterflies love it. But there's a new one that came in that's white. I went, oh my gosh, I've never seen white catmint. That's pretty cool. And it's got kind of a blue, silvery blue foliage to it. So it's quite striking in the garden. I've got to plant one of those. And so you'll see a lot of good selection. In fact, if earlier in spring, what you have is a green blob in a bucket, and it's not blooming, it's not inspiring, but has a great tag. So the growers, we make up for, it's not quite in bloom yet. You're going to love echinacea, but it's going to look like this in a month. So they give a great tag, and gardeners know I'll take it. But now you get to see it in full bloom. You get to see the hummingbirds flying around it. You get to see which ones are pollinators because bees and butterflies are over it. It's great time and everything's in bloom. It's inspiring. It's pretty. Another one that's sort of like that are your summer shrubs. So summer shrubs we hold off on because they're just so late to leaf out. And there's so many great spring shrubs. So it starts with winter blooming jasmine. That's the one that starts everything. It's this beautiful evergreen shrub, gets about chest high, and just has these stunning, just stellar yellow flowers, covered in yellow flowers. After that's done, the forsythia and quince start to bloom. And so we've got lots of those that show up. So I think I might have maybe six winter blooming jasmines left. And then when that's out, we're done until next winter. I've got one quince, maybe 4 or 5 forsythias. Then lilac. So I've got a few lilacs left. There's a lot more choices. So blues and whites and yellows and pinks, and there's different sizes. And then it's butterfly bush. And then it starts in with the summer shrubs. And now we're into the summer shrubs. And it starts with crepe myrtles, smoke bush, probably a local famous one. Smoke bush it's about head high, maybe a little taller if you just let it go. Great purple foliage. It's quite striking. But the flowers, we had some come in, it's just starting to bloom. The flowers hover above the foliage and it looks kind of smoky. From a distance, you go, is that bush on fire? Is this a Moses kind of moment? I went up to the top of Mount Ararat and there's the bush on fire. God's going to talk to me through smoke bush. No, it's just a pretty bloom that's famous here. So it comes in purple, green, and I think chartreuse color. But purple's the most famous. It's a great, it just leaves out late. And finally, we're darn close. Next weekend's June. It finally starts to leaf out and show off. Crape myrtles. You'd swear the things were dead first of spring, in April. And then it warms up in May and they just start leafing out and they take off with new growth. So they're not quite in bloom yet, but they're starting to bud up very heavily. Probably the most famous hibiscus that we grow here, it's called Rose of Sharon. So this is a shrub that gets up easily head high, and it'll go taller if you want it to. So maybe 9 foot at most. You can easily keep it down to about chest high or so, but it's just this beautiful vase-shaped bush. It's deciduous. It loses its leaves in winter, but it's got hundreds, literally hundreds of hibiscus flowers that cover this plant. It has more flowers than it does foliage. I've had Rose of Sharon that are so laden with flowers. If you fertilize them right, they just almost fall over. You got to almost you have to hold them upright. They're drunk with flowers. You're just like, oh my God, they're going to bloom right now. And they're crazy. It's a famous plant here. Now your tropical hibiscus, the big ones that get as bigger than your hand, they don't grow here. So they die out. They'll grow. I've got them, but they die out in the winter. So we sell them as annuals for containers, that kind of stuff. But Rose of Sharon has maybe a baseball size flower. So it's smaller than your hand, but it's pretty substantial, but it makes up for it in just sheer quantity. Just literally hundreds of them. So great choice in full sun. The more sun you give these plants, the more flowers you get. Another one that's famous. Now, we grow a lot of honeysuckle. So vining honeysuckle. It's a great one. So it's bulletproof. Animals don't bother it. Takes sun, takes wind. It climbs up trellises, pergolas, or a ground cover, spreads across and holds the hillside. We've probably got 6 or 7 different colors, from lemonade color to your traditional halls to purple, reds. Hummingbirds are going to love you because they love honeysuckle. But did you know that honeysuckle also comes in a shrub form, and it's equally as hardy? The same pretty flower, but it doesn't vine with these tendrils that crawl up things. It just has this pretty bush about head high. So it's about the same size as a lilac, Crape Myrtle, Rose of Sharon, and just quite handsome. It's a really easy to grow, bulletproof, pollinating, attracting, hummingbirds are going to love you kind of shrub. It's a good one for here. Another one sort of like this, the most famous of all, the snowball bush grow in Prescott Valley. I've seen some stunning. We didn't think that one could actually take our sun, but Prescott Valley's proved it. You get wind and sun out there and it's just doing great. I think it's that clay soil you all have. It just holds the moisture and just the plant adapts really well to that. So snowball bush, you folks from the East Coast, there's a shrub about head high. It's from the viburnum family. It actually has flowers on it the size of huge. Think of huge, like snowballs, white flowers, and it covers a plant late spring through summer. It's an amazing plant. Takes the wind, takes the sun, easy to grow, fast growing. So there's a lot of summer shrubs, and you're starting to see those show up along with the summer perennials. Now's the time to shop them, to enjoy them, to take them in, to take them. There's just a lot of choice and a good time to plant. That's it for this segment. We got more for you, though. Don't go anywhere. Be right back right after this. You can grow your own vitamins.
We can show you how to grow your own vegetables and herbs for a healthier you.
Water's plants are entirely organic, with plant genetics never altered and non-GMO.
Natural vitamins straight from the garden with naturally healthier herbs and vegetables.
Healthier plants for a healthier you, with plants from Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
Shop Waters in store or online at watersgardencenter.com. You're listening to garden expert Ken Lane. He can be found throughout the week at Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Thanks for tuning in to the Top 10 Garden Show.